you usually get hit at some point with that lesson, and many will not heed the lesson and their business will cease to exist.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. BJJ Entrepreneurship, the hustle that makes BJJ businesses work. Now, we have talked about running academies and what it takes to, get a gym going and make it successful. But recently, we have had questions asking us about our business and more about how do you make that bad boy work? How do you set up and run a podcast, and how do you support an app, and how do you support a community? And, without getting boring about it, what does it take to do what we're doing? Because we've been doing this little thing for a little while.
Yeah, it's coming along. It's been a while now. It's growing. And
I guess we're fortunate in you had been running a gym business for how many years before we started? We started kind of 2019.
9 years, 8 years.
You'd already been in business.
Yeah.
Doing those learnings.
Yeah.
Not early, but established in the entrepreneurial journey of system and process and ups.
Yeah, mistakes.
And I had also run my own business kind of not that well for probably the first 10 years, but then definitely better the next kind of 5-10 years, learning systems and processes and automating things, whether it be payments or...
Which bit? PT? Or?
Yeah, PT and also assisting in setting up gyms.
Yeah, okay.
So seeing my friends' gyms either be more successful or less successful for different reasons.
Yeah.
As well as I dabbled a bit in kind of equipment sales. So I got to see that side of the business.
That's right.
And
Iron Edge.
Yeah, Iron Edge. And then also I worked for White Label Fitness, which is the brand behind MA1.
Oh, yep.
Simon Carson, shout out. He is really the mastermind behind Absolute MMA.
Right on.
But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's all these lessons that you have there's all this information you're not privy to before you're in the fucking trenches.
Yeah. I think when you're not, I think being a personal trainer is absolutely a business, right?
Yeah.
It's just usually run very poorly.
Yeah,
and
correct.
I say that having run my own poorly run personal business and gym business for a long time until I learned some shit. But I think personal training is a great example because you're into fitness and then you become a personal trainer and then you are training people. And
Sharing
this
fitness.
is mad. This is what I'm into.
Yeah.
But you actually you neglect to realize that there's a whole business behind it.
Yeah.
Sales, marketing, systems and processes, right? Ongoing education, product delivery, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when you're in a business I think if I started I probably would have made this. I was going to say a cafe.
Oh, okay.
But let's say you do something that's way less exciting. Let's say you do something like, I want to buy, there's a factory down the road that uses this particular plastic to make their product.
Yep.
I'm going to go and buy this plastic from China.
Yep.
And I'm going to sell it to them.
Supply.
And I'll do that because I know that they're paying X with X, and I know that I can sell it to them cheaper, but I can make 20%.
Nice.
Right now, this is an unsexy business.
Commodities.
Yep. And this is what so many people do, right? This is business for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to people like us who are driven by an entrepreneurial, by a passion.
Yes.
Right. But in any case.
Margin.
So when you do a business like that, you're not I just love plastics, man. So I'm just slinging these plastics. So it's the best. I'm down there talking to them. We're looking at the plastics. So when, it's
composites, extrusion, amazing.
So I got to manage my margin. I got to make sure that the price from the supplier is good. We lock that in ahead of time. I got contracts with the buyers. You're already looking at numbers and margin and costs and expenses. Right. And that's for what I'm leading to here is that for people in usually a passion driven thing, I just love helping people get strong.
Yeah.
And so I built this training app and whatever.
Yeah.
That's what you're into. You're not into numbers and shit. And so you usually neglect all of that stuff.
So much stuff.
And I think that's where the real free comes about.
Yeah. I guess I think of personal training almost like a tradesperson because you do learn your trade over time. Mm-hmm. And, some people out there maybe they did their trade 20 years ago, but they've just been in the business that long. They've got people working with them. They're not necessarily doing the best job, but people just know them so they get the work.
Yeah.
And then you've got new up and comers who've learnt the new style, the new thing, and they've got better and new business practices. They have they have a social media presence.
We're on LinkedIn. They do seem very reputable.
They shower.
Yeah.
They don't keep.
They sweep up after they've smashed concrete in your living room.
Exactly. They're not just smearing concrete through the shower. No, it's interesting because there's this van. I always used to walk past this van as this plumber, and all the receipts were stuffed in the dash.
That's a strategy though.
Crazy.
You know what that is? That's
They fade.
It's an old school strategy though for parking tickets.
Oh, you can't.
Because it's like if you just cover, quilt your dashboard with parking tickets, when the inspector comes to check for the ticket, they're like, oh, fuck, which one is it? And they're like,
no, I'm from
you
Melbourne.
you don't gotta buy tickets anymore.
You're getting a ticket. If it's Melbourne City, you're getting a ticket. But no, it's interesting because obviously there is those tradespeople who they don't care. Like they can do the job. Like if they get the job, they're going to do the job well. But the business practices are fucking sideways.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say the same is true of trainers, and the same is true of BJJ coaches. You meet a coach and they're like, they're so good at jiu-jitsu. They run a great class. The students love them. And then they're like sleeping on a hammock out the back of the gym and they've got tuna cans everywhere. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this like
protein there, right?
Homeless people live better than this. Homeless people more hygienic than this. It's like, I just keep getting staph. Do you have a shower? Oh no, I just go for a swim in the ocean once a week. What the fuck? Come on, man. And here's the thing. I think if I think about this has evolved over time, but when we started Bulletproof,
I've had that situation a couple of times recently where I've come to training with some water, but I haven't had any electrolytes, and I've finished training and I've had to go to a convenience shop and buy myself some kind of sports drink, usually a Gatorade. Cost me like $7. It's small and it really doesn't contain that much of the good stuff that I'm looking for, which are the electrolytes. Sodi, on the other hand, is my partner when it comes to hydration, and I'd simply just run out of it. And it sucks because I got to go buy expensive stuff that doesn't do anywhere near as good a job. I'm super stoked that we've been restocked with the Sodi, and now I can be properly hydrated when I train jiu-jitsu. This has always been an underexplored aspect of my training, and I'm so stoked that we now have these guys in place to support us and also the listeners of the show. So if you want to be hydrated on the mats so that you can perform at your best and have the best mental clarity while training, get yourself some Sodi. Go to sodi.com.au. That's SODII.com.au. Get yourself some delicious hydration salts and use the code Bulletproof15 for 15% off. Go to sodi.com.au. Get yourself hydrated.
When we started Bulletproof, Joey and I actually went to the park and we had a bit of a walk and a sit down and a chat. And Joe's like, well, what's this look like? Like, what do we want Bulletproof to be? Like, what are the programs? And like put some structure around it other than, we're going to train people to help them get strong and fit for BJJ. And that was quite good because, me being the over enthusiastic person I am, I was like, let's just get it going. And Joe's like, no, hang on a second. Let's put some structure together straight away. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm cool with that. Because I actually love writing programs. And I do like, my favorite thing to plan is an exercise program. That's my thing.
Yeah, right.
I do. I love it. It's probably the thing I do better than most things. And I do like process and order, but often my enthusiasm overwhelms my ability to maintain.
I've written a 17-year program.
Bro, you should see the periodization on this bitch. But then, the way it started was, we started with, we need to film a certain amount of content and we had a website and it was okay. It wasn't like best website ever, but good enough. And then there were things to consider, like, do we have a blog and do we have this? And we didn't have a podcast at that time. That came later down the track. There was a lot of other things that had to happen before we even really had a business. Like, have we registered our business name?
Yeah.
Do we have a website? Do we,
have we paid tax?
Have we paid tax? Like, what does our agreement look like?
Yeah.
And even though between us it was fairly straightforward to have the discussion, it's like, all right, well, now you have to go do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Reply to my email, log into this account.
Yeah.
Have you checked on this? And the funny thing about this, I've come to realize is that you don't budget in the amount of time it takes to do all the other shit. You're just like, nah, man, we'll just film videos and we'll put them on YouTube and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not a business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the thing that I've learned more and more, because I listen to a lot of business podcasts, is a business is its systems. Like really, even though obviously there has to be profitability and all this other shit, if you haven't set up systems for things, you don't really have a business.
Yeah, that's right. You got a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like we were fortunate we just had an opportunity, right? Which was the BJJ Fanatics thing. And it was the DVD and it was like, oh, okay, well, we've got this opportunity to release this thing. And I the way I see it is that we just went like, let's just take another step then. All right, let's just put that onto a website.
Right.
Let's put that behind a paywall and people can become members and they can access it.
Sure.
And then we're like, oh, let's put some more programs, put more. And then it was like, hey, and then you're like, let's do the podcast. It's like, yeah, okay. Seems like the Instagram seems a bit popular and people are using the program. So yeah, let's do it. And so it was like this step-by-step thing. And then I think you get to a point where you realize, all right, this sort of project that we've been deliberate about,
Sure.
but we've been kind of just testing the waters in a way.
Yeah.
This is now a thing.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, then you're like, all right, we got to make this more official.
Yeah.
And so, a bunch of things to that, but it was like, we made a company.
Yep.
So like, cool, it's a company now. So it's like a legally binding thing. That's it's not just JT and us as sole traders, like Bulletproof is its own entity. We have a system around meeting each week.
We do.
We have an accountant. We talk to them. We pay
bookkeeper.
taxes,
Yeah, that's right.
And I think as soon as you do all that stuff, you have to I think we've done a good job of it. You have to take it seriously.
Oh, for sure.
And you got to be like, all right, this is a machine now that if I'm not giving the inputs that it requires, it's going to collapse.
Yeah. And
so I got to keep it alive.
I agree with you. And a lot of those systems come from Joey. Let's be honest. Like, he has much more of his approach is more systematic than mine. And also, whatever you put it down to, I get bored of things very easily. Just so quick. I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But like, jiu-jitsu robots, that's what I'm onto right now. Because the thing for me is like, I get very enthusiastic. Like I get a tidal wave of enthusiasm for something. And then once I feel like I've gone through it to a certain point, I'm like, I don't give a shit about that now. So I was like, update the Trello, mate. Like the tasks are on there. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, adult responsibility. There's a degree of maturity that has to go with it. And it's not even discipline. It's just like, if you want the fun, creative opportunities, then you have to do the other stuff that everyone else is not seeing.
Yeah.
Which is the emails, and it's the meeting with the devs, and it's the customer complaints and the, refunds and all the other shit, which is just the nature of running a business. But you don't necessarily factor that in when you think, oh, I'm going to run a BJJ related business.
No.
Whether it's a apparel company or anything.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of the entrepreneurial listeners can vibe with this, but it's kind of that classic thing of you get a business idea and then a week later you've got business cards, you've purchased a domain, you've maybe got a logo that someone's drawn up for you. And you seemingly have this business. You might have even registered the business name. Yeah. But you don't actually have any customers. You don't know how you're going to get in touch with them. Yeah. Maybe you have an idea for a product, but you don't actually have a product yet. Yeah. And like I've made that mistake myself a few times. Yep. Definitely in the gym biz, we did that. Like within certain things in the gym. But I did that with like a dongle thing that I tried to invent years ago, and I purchased stock and designed all this and website and blah, blah, blah. And then was like, oh, cool, how do I sell this now?
Distribution.
Yeah, and I ended up having just these boxes of these dongles. And I just like carried them with me for like 8 years. I was like, no, I'm going to make something of this. And then one day I was like, bin.
Yeah.
Like, but so disappointing, right?
Yeah.
And I think like with the product development thing, it's so fun.
Yes.
It's so exciting.
It is.
It's so exciting to print business cards or to build a website. You're like, look at that. I can hold it.
It's real.
I can see,
it's tangible.
Happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got some experience with that too, right?
I do. I have a lot of experience with that because I do tend to want to do lots of different things. And the difficulty is this: if you are going to make something a business, and when we say business, we mean it makes money. Now, we're not going to talk about like a tech business, which is well financed but not profitable. But if it doesn't generate revenue, it is not a business, it is a hobby. So for me, I've published 2 books now. I have a card game and I have a journal production business. Here's the thing. All those things need their own individual attention. But my full focus is on Bulletproof. So I cannot give those things the attention they require to be successful. So I have to make the concession. They're not moving forward right now. And that's okay. It doesn't mean they're never going to happen, but it's not happening right now.
Yeah,
it's just not. And that hurts.
You don't have that much time.
You don't. You don't. And I'm not a halfway kind of person. I'm either like all in or I'm all out. And so even though I get all this different creative inspiration, like running multiple businesses, you're very unlikely to be successful. So it is important. I mean, everything needs an economic engine. So I think when you first start a business, it may only be a part-time thing. It might only be a quarter-time thing. And then you have your main thing that generates your income. And this is one of the things, like they talk about, follow your passion. Yes, for sure. You do need...
But selling plastics is profitable.
Well...
That factory needs your plastics.
No, I don't know about that. But, whatever it might be, everything needs to be economically sustainable. Otherwise, it just dies.
Yeah.
This is just the thing. Where's BlackBerry now? It doesn't matter that it was like market cap of however many billions of dollars. It wasn't sustainable. And that's the thing. What I have come to learn, at least from like what we're doing, this happens every time. Like, Joe, we should do fucking 8 podcasts. We should do 7. We should do a podcast every day, man. Like 7 a week. And Joe's like, dude, what happens when one of us is sick? Like, all right, yeah, that's a great idea, right? So how do we bank some? So I
actually love that you mentioned this because
I'm happy.
We had that conversation a bit, but we probably only had it last week and you're like, no, we need to do
it. We need more.
And I'm like, bro, fuck me. Like, listen to you. And it's good to know that you reflect on it.
No, of course I do. You just see, the thing is, Joe doesn't think I listen to him. I think he listens to me less than I listen to him because he's just trying to defend his mind from clutter. But
take what is useful,
reject what is useless, add what is entirely your own. Question yourself. So for me, I will take inspiration from various things and I will try and spot a trend, blah, blah. But let's talk about our podcast.
Okay.
So when we started, a very useful thing, because Joe already ran a podcast, was he's like, we should have some episodes in the bank before we start, because there's always going to be an interruption, right? You have to put in a margin of safety. Whatever business you're in, you got to factor in there might be a week where you're sick, or there might be, things come up. So we started recording probably 2 weeks before we put it out. So we had like 8 episodes in the bank, and then we worked hard.
Didn't we just do? I think we were 6 weeks ahead. Didn't we do 1 episode a week back then?
Yeah, it might have started that way, but we had a bunch in stock.
Yeah.
And then
I think we did 6 weeks of recording though, and then we started publishing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so we had that margin of safety, just 1 a week.
Yeah.
God, pussies. Not even professional. But a lot of podcasters just do 1 podcast a week, right? But here's the thing. What I came to understand is, even from my own podcast consumption, sometimes you want to listen to just I got 10 minutes in the car, or 15. I don't want to listen to Joe Rogan 5 hours getting drunk with his mates and talking about UFOs. I don't want, I haven't got time for that today.
Yeah.
And there's other times where you're driving for an hour or 2 hours and you need something longer.
Yeah.
So then over time it evolved that I said, hey, we should do a shorter one and a longer one. And then, it's evolved to the point it is now. But the important lesson from doing that from an entrepreneur's perspective, and this is something that gets talked about a lot just in business podcasts, is this margin of safety. Because, if you have no margin for error, you're going to fucking,
Yeah, you want a buffer.
You need a buffer because
blanket.
just because otherwise you cannot be consistent. And the reason why not only did we get asked a question about this directly by one of our supporters of the show, the paid subscription, the Inner Circle, it was also that if it's not sustainable, then that's also not a business. It just won't be here in a year.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's, it's easy to be energized and just do whatever is required when that inspiration is at its peak.
Yep.
You're like, fuck yeah, let's do a podcast. Let's start today, and then you're like, sick, and then like inevitably, it's kind of like with a partner, that honeymoon period ends and you're like, I don't really feel like doing it today. Like the inspiration isn't quite what it was.
Not hitting.
In that first couple of months. But, so if you get to that point and it's like, you got a busy week and and every week it's like living paycheck to paycheck. Every week that episode has to go out today.
Yeah.
Because we don't have one.
Yeah.
It's really easy at that point to just be like, we'll do it in a couple of weeks, man. We're super busy,
Yeah.
And then before you know it, that project's dead.
Yes.
And I find I know I've just done that so many times. And I think in content creation, right? So Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, podcast, whatever the fuck, writing, if you can have that buffer so that you have a week where it's like, man, I'm swamped. Like,
can't do it.
Yeah, I can't come in. I got a family emergency. But you don't have to stress about the fact that you didn't get to create your piece of content. I think that's it's a nicer way to live.
Yeah.
Whereas that stress of and I do this even still with Instagram where I'm like, it's 10 p.m. and I'm like, I've got to get a post out today.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not a nice place to be.
No.
This episode is brought to you by Parry Athletics, the exclusive apparel sponsor of the Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. We've been working with these guys for quite some time now. We absolutely love the company. We love their gear, both for training and also just looking slick off the mats. They got excellent no-gi wears, shorts, t-shirts, all that cool stuff. If you want to get yourself into some Parry clothes or you want to rock the Bulletproof for BJJ exclusive merch, you got to go through Parry. Go to parryathletics.com and use the code Bulletproof20 to get 20% off your order. They ship internationally.
And that's the thing. The amount of stress that life puts on you, regardless of the amount of internal stress you put on yourself, that's like a bunch of forces, right? But you can control, there's only so many things you can control. And there's so much in life you can't. So, and this is something that we talked about early on with Instagram. Let's talk about Instagram for a second here, because you gave me a sheet when we were first planning out Instagram content, which was the content schedule.
Yep.
Yeah, right? I don't know if that was actually the name of the sheet.
Yeah, like the month planner.
The month planner. And it's right, okay, well, the other thing too, which you guys might not be aware of, is that there is familiarity breeds trust in a brand. We talk about Instagram, but because it's important for algorithmic reasons, but let's talk a little bit about brand, that it's got to be consistent, right? This is the image. That's where the person appears. The text lives here. 90s hip hop, right? That can fix my shoulder. Cool. All these things are actually subconscious when you see them. But because it's consistent, you trust it. You're like, yeah, I'm cool with this. Even if you didn't like it the first time you scrolled past it, you're like, oh, hang on, what's this? I got a bad wrist. What the fuck? Oh, yeah? I could do that. Sweet. And what is amazing to me is that I've met people who are like, no, I copied that thing you guys did on the Instagram. It worked for me. It was great. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. We're not just trying to appease the almighty, Instagram gods. We're actually helping people with this information. But you do not get the algorithmic love. You do not get the trust from people. You do not build an audience without it being fucking consistent. Like, I think that is the thing that people probably underestimate. And, this isn't to make it boring or anything, but in the same way your lifting, your jiu-jitsu, your anything else, it has to be sustainable because it has to be consistent. You can't just, it's not like a Rocky-esque story of you do a montage of effort and now you're fighting the world champion.
Yeah, and now it's just self-sustaining.
And now you're a super successful business person.
Yeah.
Like it's not like that. Let me tell you, as someone who had my Oprah moment, I met my hero in business. I had that billionaire moment. Nothing changed. The information and feedback I got was awesome. So that's helped us. But it was like, okay, go do work now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You think,
I thought we're chilling in the Bahamas.
Where's the magic dust? Where's the magic billionaire dust? Like, don't I get money in my account now? Can you just transfer me a couple of Bitcoins? Jesus, bruh. But that's the thing.
It's every part of it's a discipline.
Yeah.
Right? It's absolutely a discipline. And it's, people talk about it with meditation. We talk about it with jiu-jitsu, with your strength training. And it's like sitting down to publish the podcast 3 times a week. That's a discipline.
Yeah.
Sitting down to create an Instagram post.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing it today. It's a discipline.
Yeah,
do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the, I think that's the learning for the young entrepreneur is that you usually get hit at some point with that lesson, and many will not heed the lesson and their business will cease to exist.
Yeah.
But when you get to that point, you're like, oh, I don't really feel like doing this shit. It was super fun, but now I'm like, and you're like, okay, this is how it is.
Yeah.
And it's like my sister said to me, I was talking to her about training or something the other day, and she said something, my sister doesn't really exercise, and she said something about like, yeah, but you love that or something. You love exercising, And I was like, bitch, no, I don't.
Not every day.
Yeah, I'm like, you think when I get up at 5:20 in the morning and drive to the gym, like that's where I want to be?
No.
I'd much rather be sitting in the cafe or in bed still or,
Sure.
eating a toasted cheese sandwich, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's the feeling I get after training.
Of course.
It's even like, like I'm not saying that 90 minutes is not enjoyable but sometimes it just sucks.
No, because
right?
some days your back's sore.
Yeah, you're like,
your fucking
you're
wrist
tired.
jacked up. You're like, why the fuck am I? Man, I even feel that way during a workout.
Yeah.
I was like doing a workout the other day and there was a lady across from me doing deadlifts and she was fucking struggling. Like she was lifting big weight, but every rep was, and for me, I was doing heavy dumbbell rows and I was like, this is wrecking my hands. And we both kind of finished at the same time. We were both like, gah. And we looked at each other and we were both like, what are we doing? Like we just had this.
You want to get a cheese sandwich?
Yeah. Let's blow this pop stand. But it was just,
But people think that like people imagine, or people who are not in that world, they're on the outside, that you just love it. Yeah. And so it's the same as they would look at our business. I'm sure a lot of people and just think, oh yeah, but you guys obviously love it. Like it's super fun.
How
and
cool
it is fun, right?
Yeah.
It's fun and it's a privilege to sit and talk and that to be of value to people, you guys. But like publishing the podcast at midnight because you didn't do it because you had a busy day, that's not fun.
no,
Doing the monthly report and going through bank statements, like that's not fun.
no.
But
That
the outcome, the thing that it's creating is awesome and rewarding.
So it's worth it.
Yeah, and that's why you do it. And and then it's exactly that, right? And then you do have these times where you can really enjoy the fruits of that labor.
Yeah.
Like say when we went to ADCC.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible to do something like that because that's the shit you're going to remember.
Yeah.
You're not
And that wouldn't have happened
if it
without
wasn't.
all of that work.
Yeah.
Even though that was a fluke kind of thing. But just we wouldn't have been in that situation to have that experience.
That's right. And they say that, hard work increases your surface area for luck. If
It's a really good way to put it.
hard work is a
Hard
given.
work doesn't necessarily pay off.
No, but it's a given. You don't think any of the other shit happens without the hard work? No, get fucked. That's not the case. Anyone you see doing exceptionally well is doing a lot of stuff that you're not seeing, whether it's a rapper or an influencer or an athlete. They're doing heaps of shit that you're not seeing so that you can enjoy the fruits of their labor, which is the performance later.
Yeah.
And, like I'm a rap nerd. I started going deep on Andre 3000 and Big Boy. And those guys are like, not Andre 3000 now, but this is probably 10 years ago. They are always doing something. If they're not doing their own music, they're helping other people make music. They're working on movie scripts. They're like always doing shit. And I was like, wow, oh, okay. I had no idea they had their hand in so many other things, which wasn't their own shit. And so circling this back around to our business, this is what I had come to learn. Like why I was so passionate about the podcast was because I listened to so many podcasts that helped me. And I thought, you know what, we could find a way, because what we do is we kind of talk for a living. I had a guy say to me, I was listening to a Genghis Khan podcast, and I said to this guy, he was like making fun of me. He said I was like a bogan PT from Penrith or something. This guy's from San Francisco. He's mocking me. I said, I'm Genghis Khan, motherfucker. And he was like, dude, Genghis Khan, you just talk. And I'm like, dude. I was like, dude, I'm you know how I by talking. I take over the world by talking. That's my superpower. That's like, you know how I conquer the steeps on horseback with a fucking bow? The bow is the mic. The arrows are my words. I'm a rapper. No. So that's the thing. You got to know also where your strengths are. My strengths are not in systems and process, but I have discipline. So if I learn a system and a process, I can stick to it. Like I know that of myself. I know that if I make a deal with myself, I'm going to do this thing, and I do this thing.
Yeah.
That's important to me. It doesn't mean I have all the resources. I think a great strength of like what Joe does with accountability, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and then also forward thinking, which is like historical reference. This is what we've done. This is what we know. Now, looking forward, you want to project. You've got to, like, what are you planning to do? What do we know about what happened before? Like, it's not like suddenly the future is going to be magically different. It's not. It's going to be reasonably predictable about what will happen. So
there'll be a lot of hard work, and the growth won't be as fast as you wished it was.
No.
Yeah.
But
new challenges will arise.
It's always the way, like I said the joke, man, when we get to 10,000 followers on Instagram, bro, when we get that blue tick dog.
I was with you on that. I was like, bro, when we're at 10,000, we're good.
We're made and paid in the shade. And then Instagram went, you know what? You can buy blue ticks now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what? Nah, hang on. Damn. But that's the thing too. The game changes. So I think having a flexibility, one is the sustainability. So we're very lucky that we can share tasks. So you as an individual entrepreneur, you may not have that, but it's good if you've got a mentor or you've got someone who you can speak to, who can share the load or share the burden of your business. Also, I am not great at keeping track of taxes. That's nothing I want to do, and that is something I will pay someone to do. And so I said to Joe, I would like us to have a bookkeeper, even though Joe's administrative gun for us. He's like, yeah, cool. It would be good to have someone.
Yeah, that shit's above my head.
Yeah, but it's good, right? You need to find someone who's an expert, and you trust them, and there's a system in place.
Yeah.
So you say, what do I need to know? And they go, do this and this. You go, okay.
Yeah.
Done. And great entrepreneurs and business people surround themselves with experts to make up for their deficiencies. And I think that this is really helpful, whether it's your business partner that helps you, or whether it be your wife or your boyfriend, someone who has some skills, like a complementary skill set. But then also, we needed help. So we enlisted help. And that's how a business grows. Like delegation is another part of business. Like trying to do everything yourself is another way to crash and burn.
It is. But then there's also a period too where you have to do everything yourself, isn't there?
Early stages.
Yeah, and I think like even now for us, there's heaps of things we do that we're like, it'd be great for someone else to do that. But the reality is we just couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, we're not there yet. But there are plenty of things that we have managed to outsource, which has given us time for other things.
It has.
So I think that's a delicate balance, isn't it, as you go? Because in the beginning of you're going to spend a bunch of money and you're not going to make any.
Yep.
And that when you're at that stage, you're like, I have to just survive.
Yep.
And you have to know where your horizon of like where your break even point is,
Yep.
which is the point where your income at least matches your expenses.
Yep.
Then you're like, cool, I can breathe now because this ship is like balancing. It's not sinking anymore. And then the next horizon is profitability, whether that's, okay, I'm going to pay myself a little wage now, or I'm going to pay myself something and put some away. But yeah, I would say like there's kind of, you know, for folks listening, like there's two ways you can go about it. You can do it on a shoestring, which is what we just described.
Yep.
Where it's like pull together some money, make shit happen, don't pay yourself, keep your expenses low, and over time reassess. Or you capitalize and you get money. You might have the money yourself, or you borrow money from someone.
Yep.
And you go, I'm dumping, you know, whatever, 150 grand into this thing to build this machine, and that money is going to give me the runway to get this profit machine turning over.
Yep.
I've never done business in the second way.
Right.
And it's always been a bit, I've always done it on a shoestring, so that's what I know and feel comfortable with.
Yeah, sure.
But it's absolutely not a better way to do it, right? Like you learn different things.
Yeah.
I'd say you learn more, but it's also more traumatic. And it's, you know, like it really is.
You
And
got to
your
fight harder.
Yeah, and your life will be affected by it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you knew 12 months from now, I'll be selling enough sheets of plastic to this factory down the road that I will be making $8,000 of profit, then it makes sense to go, well, I'm going to borrow 100K so I can still live my life and cover my expenses for this next year. And then once we got profit, I'm paying back the loan
For sure.
But yeah, it's a big gamble, right? Because everyone thinks their idea is going to work.
It is. And it doesn't always work. And that's okay too, because there's so many examples of people who were determined to be entrepreneurs and their first idea didn't work. And that's fine. Like that's fine as long as you survive to then do the next thing.
Yeah.
And some people don't. And it hurts your heart because you have the heart of an entrepreneur, but then you end up working for someone else and maybe your dreams just live in your chest. And that's a hard weight to carry on your chest, right? So I think for anyone out there, if you're hearing this and you want to start a business, I definitely encourage you because, you know, I've started multiple businesses, but the concession I've had to make is if I really want this business, Bulletproof for BJJ, to be as successful as I believe it can be, which is to help change jiu-jitsu around the world, I have to park my other projects. Like I would not be doing proper service to this business by trying to chase 3 or 4 other things. And I've had a few people tell me that, and it's a hard pill to swallow because I've always said, no, with enough energy and enthusiasm, I can overcome this. But when you realize how much goes into making one thing successful, no human has enough energy or life to make 4 things successful. You might be able to do them over time. Sequentially, but not simultaneously.
Yeah.
And so...
And doing them sequentially too, like you can leverage them, right?
Yeah.
And you can leverage everything you've learned. And I think that what I went through with Jungle Brothers, like I'm leveraging that now with us, right? And it's like, that's cool because couldn't have done it at the same time.
No.
You know, but I'd been through that experience, gotten the gym to a point where it's now more or less sufficient without me. It's absolutely sufficient without me, to clarify. But it's like, okay, cool. Well, there's so many mistakes that we made. I can apply that to the next business.
Yeah.
And that's like, and I think that's where people can get caught up when you see someone who is a serial entrepreneur and you're like, oh, look at this person. They sit on the board for these 2 companies and they got, you know, and they got these 7 things. I mean, Elon has been able to do it, right?
Done a lot.
But that's one guy.
Yeah.
Even Bezos, from what I can tell, he's got, like he did Amazon, got that, but now he's like all in on the spaceships.
Yeah, but the thing that people don't appreciate is like also Elon is a psychopath, has 6 ex-wives and however many children. Like
trauma.
You don't want to be that guy.
No, but
necessarily
just to that point that like in an extreme, like that's an extreme example of.
But people always point to, but
probably could do more than one thing.
But look at Elon.
But you have to be willing to spend millions of dollars.
But you're not Elon. You're not Elon because you're not Michael Jordan. You don't want to be Michael Jordan. You would have no friends. Like I used to have Michael Jordan as my hero, right? And then I started to learn about him. I'm like,
A short, thick white dude with Michael Jordan as you.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to be just like you, Mike.
No, but I just thought, I admired
had
how,
Muggsy Bogues.
what an intense competitor he was. Shane Hill, actually.
Shane.
Talk about short white guys. Man, Andrew Gaze won a championship from the bench, dog.
What? But he's a pretty tall guy, Andrew Gaze.
Yeah, but he was one of Australia's greatest players, but he
Yep.
ended up playing for the San Antonio Spurs the last year they won.
Did he?
From the bench, he got a fucking NBA championship
Wow,
ring.
it didn't come off.
No. Shout out to him, but Luke Longley, right?
Luke Long, yeah.
He was
Bulls.
part of that Jordan era.
Yeah, he
But-
didn't get a look in on the doco.
Oh,
did
that
he?
was
Yeah.
that was fucked. And Jordan actually admits later that was a bad moment.
Yeah, right.
It's just because him and Jordan weren't
They
friends.
didn't get along.
Nah, fair enough. But this is what I wanted to say. When you look at your entrepreneurial heroes, and you're, oh, Elon, oh, Jeff, whatever, you've got to know that they had certain unfair advantages before they started what you see them as now. And so that's not to say you can't be successful in business in a big way. But if someone is a trust fund kid, they don't have the fear of going broke because they're from a rich family. You're not that trust fund kid. If someone worked for a Fortune 500 company or is in finance and could just go back to that 200, 300 grand job a year, they're not scared about running a business and it up. They can just go back to that job. But if you're a tradie and you're like, oh, I want to branch out into floristry, I see an opportunity. It is harder because you don't have the margin for safety, right? And I'm not saying this because I'm a conservative person. I'm not. But what I have learned, and my mistakes have been, my multiple mistakes have been, and I've been lucky to survive because I live in Australia and I have a lot of support. I've been bailed out countless times from my mistakes, is that when you do start, it is worthwhile to keep it as a side hustle before you make it a main thing. That would be my personal advice to any given person. And then when you do decide to make it a main thing, make sure that there's enough systems in place that you are a business owner, not a business runner, right? And this is a mistake a lot of people make where they cannot take a day off. Well, then you run a business, but you're not the owner. What I came to appreciate over time is meeting people who are business owners. They have people who run the business for them over time, right? Whatever stage that's at. But if you haven't been able to delegate, manage, or do these other skills that you need to as you kind of rise up in a business, if you don't have a path to that, then you will forever be working on this business and you'll never get a break. And that can be a bit of a prison. And that can take something which was your passion and make it a bit of a burden.
Yeah, for sure. I think I think that's important to realize. I think that you can still, some people, like say my side hustle is like making knives.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of like our boy Cam.
Yeah, Cam.
And he's
And
like,
that's become his...
that's his thing. But he comes to mind, but I don't know his scenario. But say you love making knives and you're like, I just love making knives and I want to sell knives on the side. That potentially, if that's your passion, that's not a business that you would necessarily want to scale to the point where you don't make the knives anymore.
No.
Because making knives
That's
is
what
why
you
you got
love.
into it.
Yeah.
And so I think you can make that, you got to sort of keep in mind, like, why am I doing this thing? What's it for? But yeah, it's not nice to be stuck in a thing and think like, man, this business could have so much more impact if I could just get some time away from managing these administerial things. And I think if that thought has ever crossed your mind, if you're like, I'm too busy to give the business the time it needs to grow, that's when it's like, delegate. Find someone that you can train up that can take some shit off your plate on a regular basis, set up the system so that they know what to do, and it's pretty much it's pretty much going to remain consistent even though you're not doing it anymore, so that you can then have the time to go and work on that shit.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I was in that
Work
place for a long time.
on the business as opposed to be in the business.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest. That is one of the hardest gaps. I even see it with my sister, shout out Kay White. She's such an entrepreneurial hustler and she works so hard. And, she edits this podcast as well as running her own wedding entertainment business and all the other things she does, because she loves the business so much. Like, it's her favorite thing is to perform at weddings and create a great experience for people. She still does all the admin and she still does everything else, but she can never not be on the tools.
Yeah.
And we all get sick. We all have problems. I believe for everyone, if you're listening to this and you do want to have a business and you want it to be successful, there must be a way for you to be able to step back. Not permanently, but just sometimes.
Yeah.
That's super important. And shout out to our boy Cam. It's Sacred Blades.
Sacred Blades was using his knife over the weekend to forage for mushrooms.
How was it?
Yeah, mad.
It's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Not the kitchen knife. I use that for cooking.
Cool.
I posted that. I was using it and I love this knife. And I posted it to my Instagram stories.
Didn't tag him?
No, it was the same weekend as the Bondi stabbing.
Oh.
And I just didn't even think it was a stabbing attack here in Sydney. A few people died. It was awful. And a couple people were like, bad timing, bro. And I was like, I didn't even think about it. It was an eat to win thing. I wanted to let JT know that I love this knife he got for me. But yeah, there's a lot in it. I wanted to say I've seen a couple of good jiu-jitsu businesses come and go in our time. One that went recently is Roll Clean Soap.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they shut down. And I don't know them personally. Like, we never met personally, but they sent us some shit, right?
Yeah, it was
beautiful. They sent us some awesome soap.
Beautiful,
like the Kimura soap and the armbar soap and shit.
I'm still using their cleaning products.
Yeah, they got the laundry powder was really good. And I just saw on their Instagram that they're like, hey, product prices have gone up and shipping and stuff, and it's just made it untenable for us. So we're going to wind this thing down.
So sorry to see that.
And you're like, yeah, like that hurts, right? And in a way, like you want to be like, hey guys, don't give up. But then you also got to keep in mind that there's a trade-off to doing your own thing. Like we said, there's time, and that means time that you're not doing other things.
Yeah.
Right? There's the trauma of just like the stress of like, your paycheck being dependent on your business making money or not.
Yep.
And so I think it's also really noble to go, how I'm going to pull out at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not what I want, and it's not working for me, and I could be doing a better job elsewhere.
Yep.
And I think it's totally cool to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
But flip side, if you got an idea and you want to do something, have a think about it. Sit down, try to be systematic, like set yourself up for success. Sit with someone who's done a business before.
Yeah.
Like that would probably be my biggest one, is like, go and buy lunch for someone who is an entrepreneur and has set up and run their own thing successfully, and ask them for their advice.
Yeah.
And be open to what they tell you, because I know a lot of people gave me good advice and I wasn't hearing it because my ears weren't open. And I look back now and I'm like, so-and-so told me that. That person told me that too.
Here's the thing. You got to go there to come back. Yeah. It's all the advice in the world. We could be saying this to you and then you hear it and you're like, yeah, whatever, boys. I'm doing it. And then 2 years later, you're like, fuck, the boys were right. But I mean, there's a lot of different advice out there. You do have to learn for yourself. But just to wrap it up, all I'd say is this, is that really you have to know the cost for what you want. And one of the worst things is most people do not actually understand the cost for what they want. Yeah, you want your own business. Yeah, you want to be your own boss. Yeah, you want all these things. But the cost of it might be you spend less time with your kids. The cost of it might be you're broke a lot. The cost of it might be your fitness isn't as good. The cost might be you don't do as much jiu-jitsu. And you only learn that by doing it and going, oh my God, I didn't know this. In the same way, when people say to me, hey man, I want to deadlift 250 kilos. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. That's a cool project. What are you prepared to do for this? Because there's a cost that comes with that want.
Yeah.
So make sure that you get clear on that. So similar to what Joe's saying, like speak to someone who's done it before or someone who's in a kind of an adjacent field. They might be able to tell you some pitfalls before you get there.
Yeah, that's right.
There it is, folks. Bit of BJJ entrepreneurship.
I hope that was enlightening for someone out there.
Yeah, and then I think we could probably do a round two where we talk more about some different stuff relevant to the biz.
Yeah, maybe if you if that sparks some questions for you, because I'm sure it did for some listeners, like throw those questions at us. Either throw them at us through the voicemail on our website, bulletproof@bjj.com, podcast tab, record a voicemail, or just like email it through to info@bulletproof@bjj.com, because it would be cool to know kind of what, there's people out there that are on this journey that probably have something specific, and it'd be good to talk on that.
Yeah, and if because I get this sometimes, oh, you wrote a book, how do you make that happen? Or, oh, you guys did did an app, how do you do that? It's like, oh, how much time you got? Those things.
Lots of trauma.
Speaking of which, I got to go to see my psychologist. All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.